Well, I'm up at the lake and I decided to start another project. I want to make a brick oven pizza. I don't think that's going to be this year, but I'm going to make a pavilion to put that brick oven pizza in. And I think I'm going to move my fire ring. I did used to have a fire ring over here, and I'm going to move it over into this area. So we're going to do some concrete in that area, and then I've kind of got it staked off. I'll show you some pictures. I have to level out this ground. Going to try to do it with the tractor instead of renting some equipment, but I'm going to level out some ground. We're going to pour some concrete here in the first week or so, and then we'll let that cure, and then we'll try to start on the pavilion. Here's a Google Earth image. You can see the dock and kind of where I want the pavilion. That would be in the red, the concrete would be the blue, and then the yellow dot is kind of where I'm going to put this fire ring, and there's going to be concrete there. Here's a rough plan of the pavilion. It's basically going to be 16 by 32. Here's a picture before I started the grade work. I used some of those metal survey pins you get at the hardware store and some string just to get the grade, see how much dirt I needed to remove from the lake side. After removing the sod, the ground was pretty hard because this is a dam. So this was packed in with a roller when the guy built the dam. But you can kind of get a view here. There's my grape arbor. You can kind of picture where this pavilion and fire pit's going to be. Those metal pins are called concrete forming stakes, I guess. They have holes in them so that you can drive them in, and then you can screw in the forming boards. And then you just can drive the stake in as far as you want to get the grade that you need so that the water flows. Here I drove one of those pins where I wanted the center of the fire ring, and then I had a tape measure there just to see what a 36-inch fire ring would look like with wood in it, and I think that'll work out pretty good. Well, I'm no concrete expert, but I've watched enough YouTube videos to be dangerous. So I have my fire ring pit laid out here. That board there is kind of going to be the dividing line. The pavilion's going to be back there. So the fire pit's going to be about where that stake is in the ground. And so I have to get the water to flow to this back corner here. So I actually they recommend about an inch per 4 feet. This is about 18-foot run. I got about 4 inches of drop from this corner behind me all the way to there. So all the water should flow this way. I don't want to have any standing water. Then I'm going to have to dig a trench from the center of the fire pit, and I'm going to dig a trench right over here and put a piece of conduit or drain pipe in, so that when I make the fire pit, which I'm still researching on that, I'll probably do a video on that, on how to make the fire pit, but I want to make sure that I don't just have a hole that collects water. So my thought is I'm going to pour a circle of concrete and then fill that full of gravel or something and have the drain pipe be able to drain that out so I don't have all that heat on top of the concrete. I had to dig this trench by hand. It was not easy. This is very hard red clay. The key is to make sure you have the proper footwear like I do. Is it fun?
It's what fun?
This.
No.
I think this is 2-inch pipe. Maybe it's 1.5 inches, but I'm making sure here that I at least am level or have a little bit of a slope so the water will flow out with no problem. Not real critical, but using my new battery-powered reciprocating saw and cut it at an angle so that it would kind of match the slope of the hillside there. And then I'm going to cover that up with some number 8 gravel. I really like working with number 8s because it's really easy to spread out with a rake, or just you can even move it with your hand. So I'm covering that up. And then the goal here is just to make this an even, I think I'm pouring about 4.5 to 5 inch thick concrete slab. You can kind of see that rope there. I will move that rope across this form, the 2x4s, and make sure that I'm about 4.5, 5 inches everywhere. That's what I'm going to pour this concrete. And I want to let you know that you can pour concrete by yourself. I probably wouldn't do this if it was like in my garage and I wanted a really perfect smooth finish. But anything that you're going to put a broom finish on outside, like sidewalks or pads, you can do it. I'm going to show you my family and I doing it. and we pretty much learned from watching YouTube videos. There's a guy called Mike Day Concrete, everything about concrete. Got a YouTube channel. He has been doing it for 30, 40 years, and he'll teach you everything you need to know. There's another load of gravel there because I need it. It's a little low on this left end, so I had to smooth that out. And here's a view from a distance. This is a new rebar. That's a fiberglass rebar that I used on our sidewalks and a pad we did a few years ago. And you can see how light it is. It is much cheaper. It's much easier to work with. You can cut it with, a grinder if you want, a hacksaw if you want. I actually used lock cutters, like bolt cutters, to cut it. It works easy. And just lay these out in a grid, and since it's so cheap and you can get it in 20-foot sections, I'm just going to lay it out in a grid here. And then I use zip ties. I'll show you in a different video that I think. I use zip ties just to zip tie these together. And this is just the only way to go. The old rebar I don't like because it rusts, and then when it rusts, it expands, and that sometimes causes that concrete that breaks off on the top layer, and then you will actually see rust come up through some of the old concrete that people did at my house. So this works much better, I think, and I've had great results with it. And I go a little heavy. I'm saving money on labor because I'm doing this myself. So I'm going to make this pad much stronger than what most professionals would do for you. So I'm putting a lot of rebar in, and then I'm going to pour a 4,500 PSI concrete, which is going to be a little extra strong and thicker than 4 inches. Now here's the fire ring after I got the pipe in there. So I'm going to cover that pipe up with 3 or 4 or 5 inches of number 8 gravel. And then you can see I use landscaping edging. I'm going to pour the concrete right up to the top of that edging. So what that's going to do is that it's going to leave about a 2-inch, you could make that as big as you want, gap between the fire ring and the finished concrete poured. And that way you don't have that direct heat on your concrete. You can see on the left how that rebar goes through that board. That's going to help me tie both of the pads together. I'm going to do this in 2 pours because I don't want to stress myself out. You could probably do it in 1, but why stress yourself out? And then there's all of the rebar ready to go. This is an 18-foot pad, so I took a 20-foot screed board, a 2x6, and that's what I'm doing is making this flat so I can use that to flatten this out. That's not what the professionals do, but I'm not a professional. Here we are waiting for the concrete truck. Always a nervous time. My kids are not excited, but I told them to take a picture, and they're really good helpers. So concrete truck showed up. We could back it right in. And here's a picture of that screed board I was telling you about. That's what we used, and you can see the edging around the fire ring. See my daughter on the left, she's floating the edges. That will help you if you can get someone to do that, help you later when you do the edging. Here's my daughter. She's got the proper attire, making sure she don't get any concrete in her hair. My oldest son, really good laborer. He really helped out a lot. There's my daughter, Liberty, my youngest. She floats the edges really good. So it's a team effort for us. As you can see, everyone's kind of finishing up the edges. And then I put some retarder in this concrete. So it was pretty slow. It gives you a little extra time so you don't stress out. But there was a lot of waiting time for the concrete to dry. Be hard enough to actually get on it and do the finish work. I got a bull float. That really took out most of the imperfections. Just bull floated it. Make sure you don't wear your good clothes because you can sometimes get concrete on your butt. And then we're just going to put a broom finish on it, which I don't think I got a video of that or a picture, but you'll get it in the next video. My daughter says, yay, I can have my coffee now. She's happy. So here it is. We're just waiting for it to dry enough to do the broom finish. If you have excess concrete like this on the other side of the board, make sure you just take a trowel real quick, remove that concrete because it will make it much more difficult to remove it after it sets up. Ask me how I know. And you don't want to do the broom finish too soon. You want to let the top set up almost all the way. If you do it too soon, you're just going to pull all the cream off. So that Mike Day Concrete YouTube channel will give you advice on when to do it. It's when your finger barely pushes into the concrete. And then we always celebrate after we do concrete pours with Mexican. It's a tradition of ours. And here I am, doing some cuts after we ate the Mexican. You want to do this the same day or the next morning. You want to do your concrete cuts. You can do this with a circular saw. You can do it with hand tools while it's wet. It'd be much more difficult. My neighbor has a concrete saw he lets me borrow, and that's what I did. So then one of the keys with concrete is you want to keep it wet. You don't want it to dry out too soon. The longer you can keep concrete wet, the stronger it will be as it cures. And it takes 28 days to fully cure. So I try to wet it a couple times a day to keep it some moisture in it. And that's what all the experts say. So that's what I do, and it's easy enough to do. Now you're going to see the fire ring, how well this did with the edging. Got this pulled out, and you can see it's so smooth. I thought it was still wet. It did such a great job. So the edging, if you're going to do something like this edging was a great way to do it. And the way I attached the edging is I just had a couple 2x4s in the center that I screwed where the two pieces come together. I kind of screwed that into a 2x4. That's how I held that together. So hopefully that gives you an idea. And then I'm just going to kind of clean out this fire ring here. This tool is called a rub brick. They sell them at all your hardware stores, and they work really well. You want to do this like the next morning before, if you let this wait 7 days, this is much more difficult to do. So you want to do it while the concrete is what they say is green, where it hasn't cured very much. Makes this process very easy. And I may adjust this fire ring. You can make this go lower. You can put bricks around the fire ring. I've watched a bunch of smokeless fire pit videos. Honestly, this thing's worked pretty good. I've tried setting it up on blocks so it pulls air in from the bottom, and I've tried just leaving it like this. Seems like it all works pretty good for us. Well, thanks for watching. It turned out really well. Please follow along in this series. Next up, we are going to pour 10 yards of concrete, and I'll talk about how I prepared the foundations to support this pavilion.